Hey everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Just kidding. But welcome back to another podcast.
And I'm
Allie.
Carson.
And today we're going to be talking about our new favorite show,
We
Outer
are
Banks.
obsessed, just like everybody else.
Yeah, we're so excited to be talking about this. I am totally Team JJ, and Carson is Team
Yes, and
John
I actually
B.
did just post a little poll in our group. Not a poll, our group. Our fans that follow us on Instagram.
On our Instagram. Yes. For 20 people.
And so far, John B is winning 83% to JJ 17%. And Allie, I hate to break it to you.
Wow.
You're the only person that voted for JJ.
Okay, good. More
True.
for me.
So do we want to kind of talk about how we got into the show?
Yeah, you found it first, so why don't you tell
I saw a coming attraction to it maybe like 3 weeks before it came out, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before it came out, and I was like, wow, this looks really good. Like, the cinema was really good, like, everything looked beautiful about it, everybody in it was good looking, and the storyline, which you guys don't know, we're going to be spilling spoilers. It's been out for a week and a half now. You guys should have watched it. I watched it 3 times. Allie watched it twice.
Yeah, like, we're in quarantine. What are you doing if
and
you
if we
haven't
have
watched
enough
it
time to watch it 2 times, you've had enough to watch it at least once so far. But basically, the show is about these kids in the Outer Banks who fall upon a treasure adventure. It's a good way to put it, right? I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
pretty much it. So I found the show a few weeks ago when the coming attractions came out. The day it came out, I watched the first episode late at night because I actually forgot it came out because I was on a Foster's roll. Forgot it came out, watched the first episode that night, and I was like, holy shit, this show is incredible. But it was like 3 o'clock in the morning already. I was like, all right, I'll stop and I'll start it again tomorrow morning. And I finished it in a bang. It's so phenomenal. And then ever since then, I've been like literally telling everybody I know to watch it. And Allie's one of the people that I told to watch it. And then Allie, tell your little Outer Banks adventure from there.
Yeah, so you were hyping it up to me, and I Googled it really quick. And I was like, like, I'm not into, like the younger kids. Like, it seems like a high school kind of show. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to watch it. And then you just kept like hyping it up. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. Like, what else am I doing? And then after the first episode, I was hooked and I watched it straight through. Like, I was up until like 5 in the morning watching it. But the cast is so good looking. Like, that's all it takes to make a good show. Like, just get some
people
good looking
because you just like want to watch them. Like, you don't even care like what's going on in the show.
Yeah, like even if it sucked, I would still watch it because John B and JJ are so hot.
Really, like you're saying, the whole cast is absolutely gorgeous. From the main group of kids, the second like tiered cast members like Rafe and Topper, even the dad and the stepmom are really good looking. But I guess it's a good time to talk about other things that like we didn't understand at first glance, because I think we're not the only ones. I'm in a Facebook group with some Outer Banks people too, and there were some questions. Then people that we know who watch the show have been asking some questions, so maybe we can talk about some of these things that we didn't catch first glance, or reasons that we think that they did things this way. I think the biggest one for you two is the whole John B thing.
Yeah, it was making me like so crazy that he goes by John B. And then you pointed out that his last name doesn't even start with a B. Like, his name is just John B. Right?
So his name is
What's
John
his last
B.
name?
Rutledge. So I think what my little interpretation is, his dad is also John. They called his dad Big John.
Yeah.
And
Big
then
John.
It's John B. It's kind of like a Tony Ann. Like, you call him Tony Ann, you're not just going to call him Tony. You know what I mean? So
or like a junior, like John Jr.
Or like when like Michael, who names their son Michael, like one's Mike and one's Mikey. So,
like, do people really do that though? Like, this is John B. John B has a baby, names him John C. Like, it's just so crazy to me. Like, they just go down. Like, do people actually do that?
I think it's more like a Southern thing, because like even like country artists or people who live in like Tennessee and like the Carolinas, their kids are like Addison Ray, whatever, Thomas Rhett, Ada Jane, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's all these like two named names, and it's like a Southern thing.
Okay,
I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My interpretation of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's just so funny because like John is such a common name. Yeah. And like, and everyone, it's like John Jr., John the Third, John the Fourth, and then there's John B. Like, that's genius. I think I'm gonna do that.
It is genius.
I'm gonna have a daughter. I'm gonna name her Allie B.
Allie B. But it makes sense because now, like, it's such a small town and a small community too. So when they're talking about it, like, oh, John Rutledge the other day, they're like, oh, well, which John? The John the dad or John the son? It's like, well, now you can just say Big
Right.
John and John B.
Yeah, that's true because in Staten Island, like everyone goes by first and last name. Like no one would refer to me as Allie. It's like Allie Phillips, you know? So, and I know in other places like that doesn't happen, you know?
Like
so
smaller
that
communities
makes
like
sense.
that.
Right, in the smaller community. It's like, oh, there's Big John and John B. Like, yeah, you're right. That makes sense.
So that's what I think. I guess we'll know when we find out directly from John B why. But that's what I think. And I think my prediction's pretty spot on. I don't know. Not going to toot my own horn.
Yeah, that's a good reasoning. I can see that. And then the other thing that we were so confused about was the fact that they were not using their cell phones at all to communicate.
Mm-hmm. And literally took me 3 times watching this, and Allie would tell me, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, why are they calling the cops, but, like, not using the phone? Like, why are they, like, running to the police station? Yeah, but then I realized that in the first episode, they were just saying that, like, the power went out, so they couldn't use their phones. And literally, one of the first lines in the show is the younger daughter. What's Sarah's little sister's name?
Which that's another topic to talk about. Her name's Wheezy.
Yeah, we need to get into her. But she's like, Dad, the Wi-Fi went out. And he's like, honey, there's a hurricane. Like, yeah, of course the Wi-Fi went out. And it's like, how did we, like, they said it so many times in the first episode. And I just can't believe that we didn't pick it up.
I think, like first throughout the whole season. Episodes, you kind of, like, half watch because, like, you're trying to see if you're going to get into the show or not. But in this first episode, they give you so many important information that you have to, like, really pay attention.
I know. Yeah, I felt like that about every episode, like not even just the first. I felt like you couldn't stop watching for 1 second because something happens was gonna happen every second. Right.
Yeah, so basically the whole story, if you haven't watched yet, is this island gets hit by a hurricane. This guy goes missing, which leads to a treasure hunt. So this, I think it's like probably like in what would you say, like a week, a few days span that this is all happening. So the whole island, especially the poor side, is out of power. So like the poor side, which is called the Cut, has literally no power at all. No lights, no this, no that, no phone. But then Figure 8, the rich side, who were actually called the Kooks, and then the poor, so the Pogues, the Kooks have backup generators, so they're able to get Wi-Fi and their electric back. But I think cell phone towers are still down island-wide, so that's why nobody can call each other. But I was saying to Allie, too, they show Sarah looking at her phone after her and John B go to Chapel Hill. So it was like, they definitely have phones. Like, why aren't they using them? And we were dumb and didn't realize it.
And then even you said, like, oh, maybe they want the show to have a more timeless feel. Like, that's why they're not adding the phone to the show. But and I was like, oh, yeah, maybe. But then I realized. But then
you would have a point. You're like, that doesn't make any sense because they're literally smoking Juuls.
Yeah, I was like, why would they be smoking Juuls, not cigarettes? But, like, not using cell phones. But then it made sense.
Also coming from Long Island and Staten Island, we don't get too many hurricanes or storms like that. So we don't know the logistics of it.
Right. That is true.
Right? I mean, we had, like, 1 hurricane in our lives in Long Island, Staten Island.
But, yeah, that makes sense as to why we wouldn't just, like, automatically know.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we're just dumb.
But I like that they did that in the show, though, to make it more complicated, you know, because if they had cell phones and they could communicate with each other, like, so easily, I feel like it wouldn't have been as interesting.
No, it definitely wouldn't have. It kind of, like, throws a curveball into the already curved ball adventure that they're going through.
Like, they're like, oh, we're going to drop you off here, but I'll meet you back here at 3:00 tomorrow. And they're just like, okay.
Yeah, or, like, at the end where he's like, where's Sarah? When he's, like, about to go off. And they're like, I don't know. Isn't she with you?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if they had their phones, the show wouldn't have been half as good.
So true.
So smart on the directors and producers and writers on that.
Yeah, I wonder if in the next season, if they'll have their power back and have their phones.
I know, right? Well, John B and Sarah said they were going to the Bahamas, and they were definitely stuck on a boat too, so definitely their phones are water damaged AF.
Or maybe they didn't even bring them. Actually, I mean, they were running away, so John B probably doesn't have a phone.
Probably not. Like, who's paying for it?
No one's paying his phone bill.
No. Or even JJ says in the first or second episode to Kiera, he's like, not everybody can afford unlimited data plans, Kiera.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when they were talking about, like, getting money or whatever.
They're talking about the treasure.
Yeah, JJ, by the way, is my man. Like, that is my new crush.
So I told you, but people are saying that he looks like a blonde Harry Styles, and you agree.
Totally. And it makes sense because Harry's the love of my life. And then I saw JJ. I was like, wait a minute. There's no way they're not like fraternal twins of some sort.
Maybe they're like third cousins.
They have to be, because number one, like getting a creature like Harry Styles is like a gift from God, and then you get another person that looks like him.
And you see, I haven't decided if he looks like Harry yet or not. I'm like really? Undecided, yeah.
I see it so much. More so like in the show than in pictures. You're probably like too busy looking at John B.
Probably. I love John B. And a lot of people have paired him and remember the guy from Brink and Princess Diaries?
Oh my God. Yes. And I thought that to myself. People are saying he looks like him.
Yes.
Oh my God, I literally thought the same thing.
I'm looking up his name right now. He's like the jerk, like the really hot, cute kid, but he's a jerk from Princess Diaries. His name is Eric Von Deeten. He's also in Disney Channel's original movie, Oh my God, wait, he's the voice of Sid in Toy Story too.
What?
Yeah, I never knew that.
Oh! But yeah, he looks like him. That's so funny.
And then another thing, too, that I want to talk about that may not have been noticed in the show is that it actually wasn't filmed in the Outer Banks. So I
can't believe that.
I know, and you would think that it would be, like, Outer Banks, how hard could it be to shoot on?
Yeah.
But
so it was filmed in South Carolina?
Yep, in Charleston, in South Carolina. So, as you know, we're both obsessed with the show. So after 3 times of watching, I still couldn't get enough. I've been listening to music from the show, been watching articles, reading articles. And so they were planning on filming in Outer Banks in North Carolina, but due to the Bathroom Act, if you guys remember, that was like a huge thing last year, the year before, where states were voting on whether the bathroom's going to be gender fluid, basically. And North Carolina decided not to. And whatever is on your birth certificate is a bathroom that you need to use. And Netflix felt strongly against this. So they didn't want to film in North Carolina. So they ended up filming in South Carolina. So they filmed in Charleston. And all the articles too, like the producers and directors and stuff were saying that they found perfect area that represents the Outer Banks perfectly. They still reference to some of the names of places in the Outer Banks, but a lot of the places that they use are fictionary places fictionary? Is that even a word? I don't know. Imaginary places in the show.
I didn't even think twice when you said fictionary.
I did. I'm like, I'm going to sound so stupid. I don't think that's a word. So yeah, it was filmed in Charleston, and actually, Sarah, Maddie in real life, grew up like 20 minutes away from where they filmed, if that.
Oh wow, lucky for her.
Right?
That's so interesting though. So I wonder why they wouldn't like name it a town in South Carolina then, like if they were gonna film there.
Yeah, I guess because like they already had the show done,
like the storyline. Yeah, like I guess like that's real in the Outer Banks. Like the Pogues and
So the other girl too, Kiara, who's Maddie as well, she grew up in North Carolina. And she was saying that they don't have the names Pogues and the Kooks, but she definitely can see like the line of who's the Kogs and the Kooks and who's the Pogues. She's like, that's 100% like true. Like there's a clear division.
Okay.
So like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think like Charleston is actually like gorgeous and like ritzy. Like, also, what I like to do in my spare time, too, is look at houses on Zillow. And and I've been looking at houses on Zillow in the Outer Banks and in Charleston. And the houses in Charleston are, like, works of arts. Like, they look like they belong in a museum. Like, old Victorian mega million mansions.
Okay.
So maybe that's why.
Interesting. Sounds like a nice vacation spot. I've always wanted to go to Charleston.
It's a big bachelorette spot these days, too.
I know.
I'm like doing a deep dive into the show.
Did you know what the Outer Banks was or like where it was before the show? Because I had never even heard of it.
Yeah, I knew.
Like I did not know it was in North Carolina.
But I'm pretty sure One Tree Hill is filmed like right there.
Oh.
Yeah, Wilmington. So Wilmington is the place that I knew because of One Tree Hill. And actually, one of my friend's cousin lived there for like a hot minute.
Oh my God, that's so random. I watched One Tree Hill so long ago, I didn't even make that connection.
So actually, speaking of One Tree Hill, the cop with the mustache, I can't remember his name right now. Do you remember his name?
No.
He is Junk.
Yeah, that's funny also.
So he looks just so old. He's 38 years old, and he looks like he's like in his 50s in the show.
Yeah, he does look old.
All right, so what do you think? Obviously, John B., the hottie McTottie of them all, the leader. I'm in love.
So Yeah, I know you're in love. So I think he's so hot too. And like mysterious. Like I feel like he's the guy you want to meet like in the summer, like when you're a young girl. Like, oh, I'm
Like
gonna
on
meet like a
vacation.
yeah, I'm gonna meet like a bad boy this summer and like we're gonna go on an adventure and like fall in love. Like that is John B. Like
That's like the
gives
perfect way
me
to put it. Like he's a townie. I was saying like I'm in love with him, but I feel like it's almost like kind of like a Peter Kavinsky from To All the Boys I Loved Before. Like you love Peter Kavinsky's character so much, and then like Noah Centineo, like yeah, he's still hot, but he's no Peter Kavinsky. I
right.
feel like that's like John B. Like I'm in love with John B. And like yeah, it's still Chase Stokes, but like Chase Stokes is no John B. Like you're in love with the character.
Right, because no one on Earth exists like John B. or like the guy Noah Centineo, whoever his character
Peter
is.
Kavinsky.
Yeah, no one exists. Like they're not real. That's why we watch these movies and
That's
these
true.
shows, you know. And
That
it's so
is true.
unfortunate. And it's like I just want you to be real. So like now we can't think of him as anything but John B.
But John B. Like
Yeah,
he is John B.
yeah. I do think he's cuter on the show than in pictures. Do
Because I
you?
think in real life he has this like I'm an actor and I'm cool and I'm a little hipster and I live in Williamsburg vibe about him.
Totally not our vibe.
No.
But yeah, on the show, it's just like his whole character, the way he like carries himself, like he's so cute.
Yeah, like he stands up for what he believes in. He
Yeah.
has all of his friends back. He's passionate. He's cute.
Confident.
He's tan. He's tall.
Yeah.
All right. So what about? I know you love JJ.
Yeah. What do you think about JJ though?
So I think JJ's so cute. The whole cast is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. So JJ's character, I have like a moral dilemma.
Why?
Like I think that he's like funny. He really loves his friends and will do anything for his friends.
Right.
But he's a little bit of a loose cannon. Like he has a really bad home life.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like letting that be the excuse sometimes. Like when he bought the jacuzzi and all that stuff, but like when you said like you fell in love with him when he took the blame for Pope for sinking Topper's boat.
Right.
Like
yeah,
I'm like,
I'm gonna
wow,
go to jail.
Pope really is the one like the dad of the group who actually has a future, so he kind of like stood up for him. But I just feel like he's like one step like making his life really bad.
Yeah, like he self-sabotages himself, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to like put it. Like he's just like he's on the borderline of like really fucking his life up.
Definitely. Like deep down, he's like such a good kid, you know? And of course, I would love a character like that who's like pretty fucked up, but kind of cute. I just love him because like it hurt my heart when his dad was like beating the shit out of him in that scene. And he was like crying and then he was in his room like freaking out. Like I was like, oh, like you don't deserve that.
No, it really is so heartbreaking. And you know what I also didn't notice until the third time I watched it?
What?
When he goes to get the keys to the Phantom on the last episode from his dad. Mm-hmm. And his dad's like, oh, did you skip school today? And it's just July. And I didn't even notice that until the third time I watched it.
That's when he was like, I can definitely take this key off my dad's neck right now.
Yeah, like he's high.
I really thought he was going to end up with Kiara, though.
So I feel like the whole dynamic between Key and like the boys is kind of like how John B said in like the first episode. He's like, everyone's like basically in love with her. So I feel like she kind of like had her options and it just kind of was like, who's she going to end up with, if any of them. Right.
Like, what a lucky girl. They all wanted her. Yeah.
But then she's like, no poke on Pogue. But then she didn't want to do anything with the kook. So like, who's she going to end up with?
Right. And then she didn't want to be with Pope, like he was hitting on her, and she was like, no, like being nasty to him.
But then they did kiss at the end, so like maybe season 2 will get more of that.
Yeah, I want to know like when her mind changed.
What do you think of Kiara as a character?
So I really liked her. I thought she was very like Hollister meets Moana. Can you see that?
Yes, I can. And when you told me Moana too the other night when we were talking over text, I was like, that's actually kind of spot on.
Yeah, and I just feel like the boys needed her in the story just to, like, not even be the mom, but, like, I don't know, I just feel like she had a lot to contribute to their adventure, I think.
And I think she was, like, casted perfectly, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, you needed, like, a girl, like, a pretty girl who has that kook life, but like fits in with the boys and who would rather be doing boy things than going shopping and doing kook things.
Right, like you would never know she was a kook.
No.
And then
I kind of want to know more about her and Sarah's relationship before this story too.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna need like a flashback in season 2,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because even at one point too, I think it was like one of the last episodes. I think the second to last episode when they're at Sarah's house, seeing if John B is there, and he was like, "Is this like guilt because you weren't there when his dad disappeared last year?"
Oh,
so like she must have been like really wrapped up with the Kooks last year, and like I kind of want to know like the dynamic of how she fell into them.
Okay, yeah. Like, why did she start hanging out with them? Like, how did she become part of that group?
Yeah, and like we kind of know a little bit because of the whole cop situation with Sarah's party, and then Pope as a character. I loved Pope.
Yeah, he was the sweetest.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like a mix between like Pope and Sarah in real life, because like Pope is kind of that one who like runs from trouble where they're all running into it.
Yeah, plus he was like the brains of a lot of things too, and you're always the person that's like leading us in the direction and everyone's like following you, you know?
Yeah, because I'm a control freak, not because I'm smart. It's just because I like to be the one like in control.
Well, you're smart too. That's why we like trust you, you know?
A little bit. Yeah, no, that's true. It's like me at Disney World where I'm just like, all right, guys, this is what we're doing.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of right now.
But I actually really liked this character. And like even for him too, like his life was determined on this interview, and he still fucked it up to like do right by his friends.
I know. I was just going to say that. I couldn't believe when he ran out on the interview. Now I need to know what happens to him, like what college he ends up going to.
So what about Sarah?
So the first time I watched the show, I didn't like Sarah until the end. Just because.
So you ended up liking her?
Yeah, but no one threw me off in the beginning, and I was like, oh, I don't like her. Her little sister was talking shit about her to Topper.
Her little sister is the reason for the demise of this whole fucking
show. The little sister is such a shit starter. I can't.
She's the okay. So one, why is her name Wheezy?
Yeah,
that's like they never like. Is that her nickname? Is that her real name?
Wheezy.
But if you think about it, every bad thing that happens to the show is because of little sister's big fucking mouth.
Yeah.
One and two, even look wise, she doesn't fit in with the rest of the Camerons.
Yeah, that's true, because they were all gorgeous, and she was like, sorry.
But they're all like blonde and beachy, and then she's like a little nerd bomber with her glasses and dark curly hair.
Yeah, she's like the black sheep.
Yeah, but basically everything that was bad happened because she told Topper about John B coming to steal the equipment, fucking got John B fired. Right?
Yes.
That's her fault. Then she goes off and tells Rafe that Sarah and the dad are at the airport going to the Bahamas.
Yes.
Rafe goes to the airport and fucking shoots the sheriff.
Oh my god, yeah, that's so
it's
true.
It's all Wheezy's fault.
True, and she did some other shit.
And yeah, she did. The hen's coop or whatever it's called, when after Midsummer's Night she goes to give the map to John B up in that little area, and then Topper comes to the house and she tells him that she's on a secret adventure with John B, and he goes and pushes him off the hen's coop, and then John gets a concussion and breaks his arm. Yeah, when Topper came to the house and she was in the bed covering for Sarah, and she was pretending, and he was talking to her, and she was just letting him. And then she told him where he was. Yeah, like, you're the worst little sister ever. Yeah, so basically if Wheezy wasn't born, there would be no drama. That's so true. So I guess, like, do we thank her or do we hate her? But then, like, without her, there wouldn't be a show. There'd be no story. So I guess we like her. I'm so glad that Sarah was like, fuck my family. I love Sarah as a character. And I think this sounds like so shallow, but I feel like characters that I think, like, who have like similar either personality traits or similar like looks about them. Like, she was like the only blonde person in the show, so I'm like, oh yeah, like you know what I mean? Do you ever like feel that way? Yeah, of course. So, I like every blonde in every movie because I like, oh, I have blonde hair. So like I always liked her from the beginning. She's like drop dead gorgeous, this girl. She's like the rich girl, but like she still like wasn't that like uber rich girl that was like pushing people away like her brother. Yeah. Also, Sarah's character had a good character development through the show. Definitely. Like towards the end, she was like 100% better. Yeah, because even when you told me you're like, I don't really like Sarah, I'm like, she gets better. Yeah, because I felt like even though her boyfriend Topper was like, you know, a scumbag, she was kind of playing with his mind in the beginning too. Yeah. Like even before he sucked. Yeah. So let's actually talk about Topper, because Topper, I think, has like a glimmer of hope in him. Definitely. Because even when like all the kooks were doing bad things, like beating the shit out of the Pogues, he was always kind of one like, guys, like stop, guys. 100%. He had like this like glimmer of like, don't do it behind his eyes. And especially too at the end where he came out of the church pretending to be John B, like kind of proved to him that maybe there might be something more to him than a typical kook. Definitely. So I think that he wouldn't
or not even I know he wouldn't have been that, like, bad at all if it weren't for Rafe. Like, if he weren't with Rafe, then he wouldn't, I don't think he would have ever, like, really done anything wrong.
No, because even, like, in the beginning, too, when Sarah is at the neighbor's house going to get the stuffed bunny out of the boat.
Yeah.
And she, like, pretends to get electrocuted, and he, like, gets so upset and, like, runs to her, and then Rafe's like, oh, you're whipped or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, Rafe is, like, telling him these things that, like, are good things or bad.
Yeah, he, like, genuinely cared about her when they were at the midsummer party, and he was like, where were you yesterday? I was like I kind of felt bad for him. I was like, he's just, like, genuinely asking where she was. Like, he just, like...
He definitely has some insecurities, though, because, like, that's... His behavior's not normal. Like, even when he was talking to Weezy, he's like, thinking it was Sarah. He's like, I don't care who you went with, but if I find out who it is, I'll crush their skull.
That's true, yeah.
So, like, he had, like, a little... But he's also loose cannon, too. Like, I didn't notice, really, too, how drunk he was, and he was driving.
Yes.
Party to her house.
And they were, like, in the tower, and, like, they switched clothes. Like, how did it go from, like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, to, like, oh, yeah, I'll go outside. Like, let's switch clothes, you know?
Because I think that he's so insanely in love, or at least he thinks he's so in love with Sarah that he's willing to do anything. So when he says to her, he's like, let me prove to you how much I love you.
Oh, that's why he did it?
But then, so Rafe is the fucking
Oh my God, I know. I don't even know where to start.
I hope he's not in the second season.
He has to be.
I know he does, but, like, I hope he's, like, in jail in the second season or something.
Yeah, I definitely hope he gets in trouble.
So speaking of the second season, what do you think? What are some of your predictions?
So I think it's going to start with Sarah and John B in the Bahamas. I mean, I really can't even predict what else would happen. What do you think?
So I feel like there's, like, so many logistics, too, though, of, like, this. So say they go to the Bahamas, the gold's there, but it's in Ward's, like, offshore account. So, like, how are they getting into that? They're like, oh, the gold's there. It's not like he dug it in a hole.
Right. Like, obviously, Ward is going to... Oh, well, he doesn't know where they're going.
He doesn't know. He thinks... most people think they're dead right now. So that's, like, one thing. But I think, too, like, also, you know how the captain was like, oh, I was young and in love once, and that, like, ended really bad.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in all shows, too, like, the second season or the second movie, there has to be some kind of conflict, and it's usually with what ended good in the season before. So I think that was, like, foreshadowing maybe some sort of conflict between the two of them. But it's funny, too, because, like, the cast, I think you ended up following all them on Instagram, right?
I followed JJ. Yeah.
So I follow all of them, and a lot of them are in quarantine right now. So Rafe, Sarah, JJ, and John B are all quarantining together in LA right now. And they're very, very active on social media, and they keep, like, positioning for everyone to keep watching the show and keep telling fans to keep posting about how much you love it, because they were, like, almost afraid that they weren't going to get a second season.
I mean, I guess, like, I'm just assuming everyone that makes a Netflix series, like, for a season
gets a second season.
Or, like, they just, like, have to, like, worry, like, oh shit, like, what if people don't like it and, like, don't want the second season, you know?
Yeah, that's so true. When this is, like, a phenomenon, like, literally the whole entire world.
Right, and, like, it couldn't be at a better time because everyone's in quarantine. Like, everyone's gonna watch it, so I'm sure. I can't see them not getting the second season.
No, but I just hope in season 2, like, somehow they tell their friends that they're okay, because that scene at the end when their friends think that they died and their parents come in. Oh yeah,
that was so sad.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry, but it was sad. For a second, I was like, are they dead? Did you have any thought that they might be dead?
No. Because I was thinking the whole time, like, what fucking idiots going to this storm? But I knew that they wouldn't die.
Just for, like, the sake of the show.
Exactly. Like, they're the two main characters. Like, there definitely won't be a season 2 if they die. But, like, literally, like, the logistics of them surviving that
were so unrealistic.
Exactly. And then also, too, like, when the boat
like, suddenly they had life jackets.
Yeah. They weren't wearing life
jackets. I noticed that.
And how did they both manage to hold on to the boat all the way to the Bahamas or wherever they ended up floating to?
Like, yeah, I got Titanic vibes from that, too. I was like, they just held on to the boat all night?
And, like, sharks. Hello?
Yeah, no way. No, thank you.
Like, it just doesn't, like, logistic-wise, no. These are questions
we need answers to these questions.
And you know what? Actually, 2 other things that came up in my head that I need answers to. So one I didn't speak to you about, one I did. Scooter, I think is his name. The guy who goes out into the storm on Ward Cameron's behalf to the island where we think that John B's dad died
and he's
on.
married to that lady.
That lady, Lana, I think her name is, or Lena. So when John B goes to her house to find out what happened to his dad, she tells him this whole story. She goes, yeah, Scooter was on the way to the island and he found out that your dad was camping out there, John. But then when he was coming back in the storm, he died. So how does she know that he found that out if he died on the way home? Like, how did she get that information? And like, I was talking to Riley about this, and I was like, I don't know, like maybe he called her or radioed her on the way home. I'm like, yeah, but if he did, why is she running around town like, has anybody seen Scooter?
Yeah.
Like, you know where he was if you spoke to him.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I didn't think about, like, the radio, but I was like, maybe it was before, like, the power went out. Like, maybe he was, like, able to text, like, call her for some reason, and, like, she wasn't, like, thinking he was gonna die, you know?
And then another question, too, that kind of was, like, a huge part of the show in the beginning and then kind of died out, is those two goons that came in the beginning to look for the boat. Like, who sent them?
Like, did we ever find out, like, what their, like, deal was?
So the only thing that we found out is that, well, they didn't even, like, blatantly tell it, but Cameron Ward definitely killed them.
Okay, because I feel like I wasn't really following, like, what was happening with them, and then I just remembered they died, like, they were dead.
Yeah, they just, like, got dead, but she was saying how it was with that, like, fish hook, and that fish hook ended up being in Ward's house when he got the compass and put it in the safe. So we know it was Ward who killed him. And then he also tried to frame it on
the boys.
On John B, because remember when he called the radio and he said that John B stabbed him with that? That was what the murder weapon was with those two goons. But, like, were those two goons working for Ward? Were they outsiders who were interested in the treasure too, and then Ward killed them, so they were out of the way in the treasure hunt? Like, we really didn't get full answers on them.
Maybe I wonder if, like, the writers had something in mind where, like, they already knew in the second season they would, like, touch more on that, you know?
On it. Then also, too, what I told you I found out is one of the directors of the show is the directors of Friday Night Lights, which is one of my favorite shows. And his daughter, his name is Jonas. His daughter was in the show as well. She was the one, So remember when Scooter's body washes up and they're talking to the girl and she's like, look, a dead body.
Yeah, she's like showing the pictures on the phone.
That's his daughter.
She had her phone out.
Yeah, that's his daughter. The cast was very good with, like, behind the scenes bits that they've been posting now. And she, like, that girl hung out with them, like, behind the scenes too. So you can kind of, like, get a good look.
God, I have to, like, watch more behind the scenes things, and I have to watch the interviews too.
Yeah, and the interviews too, they were, like, talking about, like, they're playing the game, like, who takes the most long to get dressed?
That's funny.
And there's one that was, like, who's most like the character, and everyone's like, honestly, like, we're all, like, our
oh my God, that's so interesting.
Right? And I feel like, too, because Sarah and Kiara being both Maddies, being from the Carolinas, they have some, like, similarities to their characters. And, like, Chase lived in Florida from, I think, 14 years old and on. So he already had, like, his boating license and knew, like,
where is he from, though? Do you know?
He's from Maryland. He's from Annapolis, Maryland. He moved to Florida for high school and stayed there throughout college. And he's 27. The rest
They're,
of the
like,
main
21,
cast are Sarah,
right?
Kiara, 22, And then Topper is 26. And Topper's actually...
He's so cute, too. Oh, my God.
More in real life, because without his
I was looking at pictures of him last night. His face was, like, chiseled by God himself. No, I swear to God. He was, like, a creation from Jesus.
I think the only bad-looking person in the series is the drug dealer. But, like, he's a drug dealer, so he shouldn't be, like, bad-looking.
Oh, true.
Like, you never want to have a crush on the drug dealer.
But, yeah, even Rafe was, like, kind of cute.
Rafe was cute. He was just a fucking psycho mess. His name's Drew in real life, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how old he is. I think he's like 23.
Yeah, I looked. I think he was around 22, 23. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the whole cast is pretty much around our age.
Well, no.
Oh, so he's actually our age. I'm lying.
Oh, that's good. That makes me feel better because I know
His birthday's a few days before.
Oh my God, Geminis. Better because I was like Googling them last night, but I was really focusing on JJ, and I know he's 21, and I was like, oh, that's nice. I'm gonna be 27, and I'm in love with someone that's 21. I'm gonna marry him.
Well, that's what was fun too. Like they spent the whole summer in Charleston, and they all like hung out. They all went out. Like there's pictures of them in the bar too, and they're all of age. So they were all going out and like.
Oh my God, that's so fun for them. What did you think about the stepmom?
So the whole like parenting thing, they didn't really talk about that much.
Yeah, like what happened to their mom?
They never, ever talked about the mom. The stepmom, though, I thought was casted well because she was like young, she was pretty, she was like kind of bitchy, and she, no matter what Ward would do, she always had his side. But it was not because she loved him; it's because she loved his money.
True. Yeah, she was like his ride or die chick. Like he's like, I did this, and she was like standing up for him. She's like, okay, well, like we're gonna go with this idea because like what else is she gonna do?
And he's like, and she's like, I didn't really have anything else. She goes, yeah, you didn't have anything else. You just kill the cop and do this and do that. You didn't have any other choices. Like there's a million other choices.
Yeah. Right. She's like trying to make him feel better.
I actually liked her, but I wish she talked about like where Sarah's mom is. Is she dead? Is she divorced?
Yeah.
They briefly touched on John B's mom, how she just split. Nothing ever about JJ's mom. And then Kiara and Hope's parents are still together.
Right. She's the only one that, they're the only ones that have like normal parents.
Any other final thoughts?
No, I think I said I covered everything. I think so. How about you?
I think everything's out in the open now. All right. Well, I guess that's it for our OBX little segment. And also, too,
I'm sad because I really loved talking about it. Sorry.
And you know what stinks too is we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for season 2 than normal because of quarantine season.
Oh,
so probably
everything.
If there was gonna be a season 2, they would have to film it like this summer. And they're not gonna be able to. So we probably won't get it for another 2 years. Yeah.
Great.
Corona times.
Nothing to look forward to. I know we're gonna be like. There's a really good chance that I don't even want to say it. That we might be 30 by the time that we get the Outer Banks
oh my God,
next season.
Because we're gonna be 27 in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's a really scary thought. So it better happen before we're 30.
Please, like I'll get out 29 at least.
Yeah.
They might be able to film it sooner because if they're not going to film it in the OBX because they're going to the Bahamas, maybe they'll all.
Oh, you're smart.
Maybe they'll set it all in the Bahamas. And like you can really film at any time there.
Right. I like where your head's at.
Hey, we might get it sooner than we think.
Happy thoughts.
All right, so I think that's it though for our OBX before we draw it out even more.
Yeah, that's about it.
But if you guys are interested in learning more about Outer Banks, go watch it on Netflix or follow us on Instagram at The Talk of the Islands to see what we're posting about OBX and some more of our future episodes.
That's
all right, guys. Thank you. We will see you guys next time. Bye.